Hurry up. It's coming! Oh my god. Watch him snatch my feet.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing okay wherever you guys are around the world, especially if you guys are in the States. I know we have the quarantine going around and whatnot, so hopefully you guys are doing well for yourselves and, you know, try to stay safe. So we just finished playing Resident Evil 3, which is basically the remake for the 1999 version of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
So for this game, you get to choose between normal, easy, and hard for difficulty. We chose to play this on normal. And you basically have the main character, who is Jill Valentine, who is a STARS operative, and then you have the side piece, Carlos, who is working for Umbrella Corporation. Now, something that we both weren't expecting is that this game doesn't give you a tutorial or anything. Like, as soon as you start the campaign, it just throws you right into the action.
Hello?
Jill, are you okay?
Brad, is that you?
Listen, you gotta get out of there.
What are you talking about?
I don't have time to explain. You gotta get out of there right now.
Alright, let me grab my...
Oh, what the fuck?
Holy shit. Madres. So FalseLight and I unfortunately never got a chance to play the 1999 version of the game, so this will be our raw opinion on just this game alone from, you know, obviously 2020. So Resident Evil definitely earns its reputation as, you know, being one of the pioneers of zombie games. You know, they've definitely had their, you know, long years and experience in, you know, the zombie franchise. And although the game doesn't feel like it brings anything new, you know, it definitely has a couple of elements that we've seen before. The game definitely feels fresh with the updated graphics. Of course, from 1999, this game has come a long way. The landscapes look, you know, really well done. They look actually absolutely gorgeous. From the streets of Raccoon City to the inside of the RPD building, the hospital looks gruesome. Just what you would expect a hospital would look like after a zombie apocalypse. The character models definitely get a 10 out of 10 from us guys. Jill, Carlos, you know, all the characters have, you know, really good design. Nemesis is absolutely, he's ugly, but he looked good.
Now, Nemesis is a huge part of this game and to the level design. He chases you throughout the city, and over time, as you progress, he either comes at you again with a bigger gun or being bigger himself.
No, man, come on, man.
You motherfuckers is crazy. Look at that big motherfucker got a rocket launcher.
Something that I did notice over time is that you are the person being chased in this game. Savage and I have played Resident Evil 5, and in that game, I just remember how in every mission, you always had to chase a specific person throughout the entire level, and by the time you put in all the hard work to reach that person at the end of the level, they would just find some way to escape, and it just felt like such a chore in that game. But in this one, you know, like, you'll play through the level, and out of nowhere, like, Nemesis will pop out of nowhere, and you just, the feeling and hearing him with his big footsteps right behind you, it adds a lot of suspense, and it gave me anxiety at times.
Oh my god. Oh, shit. Bro, are you kidding me? No, 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 no. I don't have time for you. Get off. No, he's right there. What? Move. Does it go through there?
Come back to the station.
Not until I get traffic control online.
Get the fuck off the radio.
Now, the game does spread out some jump scares throughout the game, and honestly, some of them are kind of predictable, you know, like, they're kind of noticeable. But there are situations that you could get yourself into that could really freak you out.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
A good way to prevent this is always double tap your zombies.
So obviously double tapping your enemies makes you use a bit more ammo. So in terms of crafting, you do have to be, a bit more aware of your items that you're using, be able to manage them well. We did find ourselves carrying a little bit too many items at times, so we had to go back, deposit those, and then go get the other items that were around the map, which was no big deal. So we did play on normal difficulty. Out of our whole playthrough, we ran out of ammo only once, and that's because we had to deal with a couple of the monsters. But other than that, it wasn't a big deal. The only thing is that we did have to end up using the knife. Now the knife can be a bit tricky. I thought that you were going to be able to maybe do a combo if you got a zombie from behind. However, that wasn't the case. I would slash zombies like 20, 30 times and they would not die. You could do a little bit of a dash slash combo with the knife. However, it was a little tricky to get down. And honestly, it almost rendered the knife useless at times.
Shit!
Oh, what the fuck? Madre. One of the things that always helps out, guys, is definitely the map. Always double check the map. An arrow will basically show red if there's still something to be discovered, and you can find letters and stuff like that, which are actually pretty interesting. They basically tell you stories of either people in that very room or letters left by somebody else that was there, from a while back, and some of the stories actually can be really interesting. It definitely adds a little bit more to the lore, of the Resident Evil world, and it's definitely interesting to read them. In terms of music and sound, guys, the sound was very well done. The footsteps of Nemesis, like FalseLight mentioned earlier, made you feel like he was actually really behind you. The clanking of the zombies on the doors and the walls and the climbing, everything was so well done. You can really actually feel like if you were in the game and you actually heard the zombies around you. For the soundtrack, for the most part, everything, the music was really well done. It was definitely suspenseful, so it definitely, goes hand in hand with what you saw in the game. Obviously, tense moments played a little bit, more suspenseful music.
Now, with Resident Evil 3 comes Resident Evil Resistance, which is honestly just a bare bones multiplayer. You either get to play as a survivor or a mastermind. Now, when you play as the survivors, there's 4 survivors, and each of you gets to pick a different character, and there are different maps that you play on. Within each map, you have to go through certain rooms and acquire a key to move on to the next level. Now, a problem that we notice with the multiplayer is that communication is very important in this game mode. We basically played with people that did not have mics, so therefore each person was doing their own thing, going to different rooms, advancing more than the rest, and the masterminds, which are basically the enemy in these matches, they control the doors and they can spawn in zombies and things like that. They can also spawn in these huge bioweapons, which are basically like little mini bosses throughout the level, and those can just shred through your team if you guys aren't playing together.
So reaching the end of the review, guys, one of the weak points that both FalseLight and myself really thought was a bit of an issue in terms of the campaign was a bit of a weak character development, especially for Carlos. Now, I know we didn't get a chance to play Resident Evil 2, but I do understand that from that game, you were able to play as the 2 characters, and basically they each had their own storyline, and there were things that were similar, but obviously a couple of things that each storyline had different. This game, however, it is a remake. I don't know 100% if this was exactly how the 1999 version played out, but I feel that they definitely had more than enough time to, if it is how it is, exactly how this game is, I feel like they could have given us a bit more, gameplay from Carlos's side. You really don't get to, see his character develop or unfold for that much. He basically just acts as Jill's side piece. So we completed the game in about 7 hours, and it took us a little bit more, longer. I know some people have completed it in 6 and maybe even a little less. We did a little bit more exploring. We had to double back a couple of times, for supplies and stuff like that. So that's why it took a little bit longer. Even though the game did take us about 7 hours to complete, probably could take you a little bit less depending on your skill level. That's basically all you're going to get out of this game. There is really no replayability for the most part. Yeah, you can go back to see if you missed any collectibles or, missed anything that you saw maybe somebody else get, through a video or something like that. But other than that, there's really no point in going back and playing this over again, other than to get any collectible you might have missed. Now comes the big question. Do we think this game is worth the price point of $60? And I gotta say, guys, being frankly honest, not at all. The game comes in 2 sets, basically 25 gigs, I believe, for Resident Evil 3, and then another 25 gigs for the Resistance part, which is the multiplayer. So it's basically charging you 30 and 30 plus tax. Honestly, if they gave you the option for Resident Evil 3 alone for $30, I think at that price point, it would definitely be worth it. And the multiplayer, the Resistance mode, it's definitely, very overpriced for, for what you get. Even for the story mode, the replayability is extremely low. The only thing that you can really get more from it is if you play it on a hard, probably get a bigger thrill out of the game. Other than that, you really don't get much more. So for all you pro diehard Resident Evil players, if you guys have bought the game already, I hope you guys enjoyed it like we did, in terms of the story mode, of course. If you guys are looking to get into a zombie game for the first time, or if you played previous Resident Evils like we have before and are, trying to see if, make up your mind if you guys want to try it, we would definitely advise you guys to definitely wait for a price drop. It's definitely not worth the price drop because obviously you have to pay for both of them of $60. Definitely not worth it. If you guys haven't gotten it at all, whether you're a pro or a noob or, a gamer just like us, and you guys are looking for a game to, to get during the quarantine, I would definitely advise you guys to either go to your PlayStation, which is basically what we recorded this on the PS4, or your Xbox or PC, whatever your gaming setup is. Definitely go to your store. There's a lot of sales right now, especially for the quarantine, and there's a lot of discounts on games. Definitely go get one of those because that probably be better for your pocket, rather than spending $60 on a game that you could probably easily get for a discount in the near future. So that basically wraps up the review, guys. If you guys liked the video, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you guys have played the game, you guys are thinking about it, let us know in the comment section. If you guys really like it, consider leaving us a like and subscribing. Click on the notification bell, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
And wherever you guys are, stay safe and keep toilet paper handy.
Bye, guys.